Hello and welcome to a rather special Sunday repeated on Wednesday program, and this is
the mojo in. The winning boys magic.
Marge, this ticket doesn't just give me a seat. It also gives me the right, no, the duty to make a complete ass of myself.
But as for me, I'm off to battle aliens on a faraway planet.
Hello, operator, give me the number for 911.
Who sent you here? Can't talk, little man? Bet can't play none either.
I could pull a better cartoon out of my ass. Hey, whoa! Wasn't that great, kid?
Oh, bitch, bitch, bitch.
Kill my boss. Do I dare live out the American dream?
Oh, overload. Pleasure overload.
Uh-oh. 2 independent thought alarms in one day.
Wow, you have to love that. Good morning, Wood Ticks and Patriots. Welcome to another exciting show, the JustJim Show, brought to you direct from Lake Wish I Be Gone. And, of course, y'all know what that means. Anyway, good morning. I got my coffee. I have not been on the air for a while. Had some technical issues, had to sort out. And with that, so much has been happening that it was like I came down this morning and was prepping for the show, and I was like, God, I got all this stuff to talk about, but I haven't. So it'll be maybe some of it you won't know or haven't heard about, or some of it you will have heard about. And with that, I'm going to start off right here, right now, with some Wisconsin news. That's current, and it's I get my flyers from representatives through the AP line, and on Friday, February 18th, or let me get the other one here. Yesterday, in the state of Wisconsin, we're talking Wisconsin politics right now. Some of the things that are scooting through the Senate and the Assembly. And here's a bill right here, State Senate Bill 547. It was introduced on September 2nd and went through yesterday, I believe. Now, rumor has it that our great governor, not COVID, is going to veto a lot of what's coming to his desk. Shame on him. But like everything, we all have our views, our perspectives, and I'm so sorry that he is where he is. But Senate Bill 547, introduced by Senator Strobel, Falkowski, and Nass, and then co-sponsored by Representatives Brooks, Gundrum, Nodal, Allen, Armstrong, Callahan, Edmund, Horlacher, Magnifici, Moses, Plummer, Rosar, Shaw, blah, blah, the list goes on and on. Return to the Committee on Labor and Regulatory Reform. Now, why am I picking this bill out? Because I'm telling you, let me get this here. See this? This is a list of all the bills that are floating around. Let me go over here. I can do this better. Joint Committee on Finance on Tuesday convened a floor session following the bill's regulations, blah, blah, blah. Why is, man, I got things happening over here. Anyway, all of these bills, I'll touch on a few of them. All of those bills are sitting, waiting to get passed, discussed, blah, blah. And that's how the process goes. So, and that's what makes America great. But this particular bill, given the last 2 years of what's been going on in the world, this bill of all of those, among a couple others, are very important. And if you don't keep up with the bills that are scooting through the legislature, I strongly suggest that you go and find your local rep, and this stuff that I just showed you, all of this is available to you. Now, and I get that reading bills and their language and their paragraphs and subparagraphs and XYZ gets boring at times. Kind of like reading your insurance policy. Yeah, well, I'll read it later. You get a stack of papers, about yay big. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'll read it before I go to bed at night. Yeah, right. How's that working out for everybody? It doesn't. Never does. Hang on 2 seconds. I thought I had a sneeze. Not COVID. I'll tell you that. This is an act to amend an existing bill. And that's the part that that should scare the living bejeebers out of you. I was going to say something, but I don't want to start adding money to my kitty, my giveaway kitty, donation kitty. But under current law, this is an analysis by the Legislative Reference Bureau. And it has to do with the poke. And as I go over this bill, I want you to remember who introduced the bills. If you're a freedom-loving patriot and not a wood tick sucking off the government teat, I'm suggesting that you look to see who is writing, or should I say correcting, because the need for this bill should not be there. There's common sense, and then there's wood tick sense. And I'm sorry, it is what it is, buckos. My microphone, there we go. Not difficulties. Anyways, under current law, what's existing today, unless an exemption applies, and I'm going to tell you, I know a number of people who work in the government or in government departments, and there is no such thing as a unilateral exemption from getting the poke. Religious beliefs, beside the point, has nothing to do with that. You can't go and claim it and get away with it at any level in a consistent manner. So anyways, under current law, unless an exemption applies, if an individual quits his or her job, the individual is generally ineligible, I mean, you don't get it, to receive unemployment insurance -UI. I've got to watch. I go follow my finger here. If I had a bouncing ball, I'd follow that. Unemployment insurance benefits until the individual earns wages or certain other amounts after the week in which the individual quits equal to at least 6 times the individual's weekly unemployment benefit rate. Now, this bill is going to correct that. This creates an exemption for an individual who terminates his or her work due to employee's unwillingness as a condition of continued employment to receive a vaccine against SARS-CoV-2 or furnish proof of having done so. So that means you can't, if this bill goes through, and I'll guarantee you that little, I won't say it, our great governor in the state of Wisconsin will veto this. Mark my words, folks. Mark my words. Also under the law, an individual may be disqualified from receiving UI benefits if he or she is terminated because of misconduct or substantial fault. And I'm going to ask a real simple question. Every legislator that I know tries to be this linguistic king or queen. And the language that sits in the bills, the legislative law now, is so ambiguous and so open to personal interpretation, which is why Americans are Americans. We all have our views on things. But when you put something in writing, it is the written word that makes the rule. And I got to wonder why legislators use misconduct or substantial fault. Why would you use those words? What is a substantial fault to you? is going to be different than a substantial fault to me. Yeah, yin yang. It is what it is. Now, the bill specifically provides that an employee's unwillingness, which is a perspective, or as a condition of continued employment to receive a vaccine against CV2 coronavirus or furnish proof of having done so, does not constitute misconduct or substantial fault. If you wouldn't have used those words in the first place, you wouldn't have to be writing corrective bills in the legislature. Now, I am not pissing in any legislator's pond because somebody had the sense to read a bill and say, well, this is open to interpretation, which is running rampant. And the interpretations are far from being uniform. But it comes from using this kind of language that doesn't really nail things down. A condition of employment. Now, if I have a job and I've worked there for 20 years and all of a sudden somebody decides to add a rule post-employment and tenure, does that now mean that my condition of employment, or it does say continued employment, the companies always say it's a condition of employment. Does that mean that now I've violated my condition of employment? No, it might mean that I've violated a continued condition of employment. But the language never comes to light. And all you lawyers out there that work for the Queen's rule of law, if you know what I mean, when you put your robe and your hat on and you put a flag with fringe hanging from it, why don't you look up the military code and see who exactly you're sitting representing? Not people, not the people of America. You're representing the military. And I've had elected officials actually call me, and we've had discussions regarding, I do not want to swear an oath of office in front of a military flag. We don't get, it's all dressed, it's a parade flag. It is for the military. Another subject, and I can go into that for a long time. People don't get it. The flag, its use, its misuse, proper handling, the wearing of, using it to advertise. If you read the flag code, the U.S. flag code, which kind of is indicative the way you write a bill, and the law reads in many instances that there is no penalty. You can say it's supposed to be done this way, but if you don't do it that way, what's the penalty? It's kind of a checks and balance thing when you write a bill or a law, make a law. If you don't do it, this is what the price you have to pay. I don't care. I do care if it's monetary or time in jail or confinement. I don't know. It's over my pay grade, but it's not. And you as Americans and patriots, the wood ticks, you already know what I'm talking about because you do it every day. Patriots have to get to the finite of the English language. That's what we use to run our rule of law and our day-to-day behaviors. Obviously, there's influences that make right, and can I say it outright, and prevent evil? And I've said it. I just said it earlier. If you believe in right, you have to believe in wrong. And you need to have that line in the sand so you do understand what's what. So anyways, this bill, Wisconsin Senate Bill 547, authored by Senator Felkowski. I do not advocate any particular candidate for office. That's been my rule. I have personal likes, and that's got nothing to do with what I do here. But my tone and my rhetoric, you'll get my drift. You got to remember who's writing and trying to take a look at what needs to be corrected sits down and writes a corrective piece and introduces it? Perhaps we need more legislators like that, not the ones like Nancy Pelosi, who say you have to pass it to know what's inside. Here's what's inside right here. And I'm sorry, it's a page and a half with an explanation. Oh, novel idea. But then we have, it's another story. I'm not going into it. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, stay tuned. I'll talk more about it. Maybe you'll understand. One brain at a time. How's that? Yeah. But it goes on. And it's really very, the corrective language is very short. It's, do I have it up on the line? I don't know if I do or not. Where is it? Legislature. There it is. This is an act. This is what I'm reading right here. Well, wait a minute. I'm going to do this. I now have, actually, I do have, I've graphic. I have a tablet we can draw on the air now, which is great. Anyway, there's your senators who have sat down and thought about this, what we're talking about here. And there it is, the language, misconduct or substantial fault. Who actually sits down and thinks they're doing something that's definitive? And what happens now? They've identified this SARS-CoV-2. Does it say, and its mutations? No, it doesn't. It does not. Oh, did I do that? No. Oh, there it is. Put you on the air. That'd be nice. Yeah. This right here. Oh, I got the wrong. Technology. Technology. Anyway, I was showing you a picture of the bill, but apparently it didn't go out. I have to get my button pushing correct here. Anyway, the language SARS-CoV-2 is very specific, and if I'm a lawyer, which I'm not, and I have to defend somebody, I'm going to say, here's a COVID-2. What they have is COVID-49. But this language now defines very definitively -2. Doesn't say and derivatives or mutations. Well, guess what? If you're logically thinking, which comes up with another subject that we'll talk about in a little bit. But since I'm on the state of Wisconsin, I guess we could talk with it. But for a moment, I'm going to, here, you have news, you want to send it in? Send it to news@thejustjimshow.com. We'll be happy to take a look at what it is that you think you want to talk about or have me talk about. We do have a toll-free number. You can call into the studio and chit-chat, blah, blah. And we'd ask you to, of course, like and subscribe to the Just Jim Show. We have a lot of merchandise you can pick up. We have, obviously, coffee mugs. The Just Jim Show. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, how's that? Pardon my drinking on the air, but that's what I do. But again, send your news in to news@thejustjimshow.com. And with that, we're going to take a, excuse me, not COVID. We're going to take a little short commercial break. Hey, welcome back. This is the Just Jim Show. You betcha. From Lake Wish I Be Gone, down in the bunker. The other bills that are floating around, and we've just been talking about some Wisconsin politics and bills that are floating around the Assembly and the Senate, and it's good to hear. It's great to see that there's actually stuff happening in Wisconsin, my state. Yeah, I'm in Wisconsin. Lake Wish I Be Gone is in Wisconsin. Wow, it's looking nice out there today too. We got dumped on with a bunch of snow yesterday. Anyway, nothing real serious, but 10 inches or so. With all these bills going on, there's a few that I got to put these down there. Throw them away. There are a few that caught my attention as I went down the initial rundown of them. Where is this? Is this going out? Second PC. There it is, right there. All of these bills, there's Senator Felkowski having a good time out in the public. All of these bills, you got to go down the list and just get the highlights. And the first one is very important to me. The SB, if you just click the links, he'll take it to where you need to be, and you can read the bill text. This has to do with the broadband issues and being living in Lake Wish I Be Gone. A broadband is a very serious issue for me. Part of why I haven't been around on the air. Here, one now. I just laugh when I go down the list. Relating to construction and issuance of motor vehicle registration plates. What is wrong with the bill we have sitting? And we've been paying money to register our cars for God knows how long. And now we have to write a bill relating to the construction and issuance of motor vehicles. It's kind of comical when you read down the list. Relating to housing authorities. Obviously, there is some housing issues. The relating to the liability exemption for the provision of previously owned eyeglasses. Can you think of any subject matter? Let me go back here. Can you think of any subject matter that would be more important than a liability for previously owned glasses? I'm just saying, disco here, disco there. It's, in my opinion, that would be so far down the list, but somebody sat down and read whatever's going on in that bill and decided they needed to have a rewrite. But the next one, another one, SB 536, relating to the possession of dogs by certain felony offenders and providing a penalty. Didn't I just talk about providing penalties when you write a law? Providing penalties. Doesn't mean doodly squat if you don't have a penalty. And it's just, what's the point of wasting ink and paper? I don't get it. Then the one we just talked about, SB 547, relating to the eligibility of unemployment insurance benefits in the case of an unwillingness to receive a poke, the vaccine, a vaccine. Now, that language is probably universal in its coverage. A vaccine could be for anything. Consider that open-ended word. I guess this may be, this might have been written by a staff member. I'm not sure, but consider the use of the English language. Anybody who's writing and making bills and putting them out there. I highlighted a few of these, and there's a whole lot of them. SB 573, relating to allowing persons to charge fees for the use of electric vehicle charging stations and the installation and operation of electric vehicle charging stations by the Department of Transportation or a political subdivision. That should trigger a hair on the back of your head. I don't know who wrote that. If I'd have to go look. Here, let me go look quick. Hang on. That is, what is that? 573. 573, right there. Let's see what we got. 573, right there. What do we got? We have the text bill. Coles, Roth, Bernier. Wow. All right. This bill allows a person to charge a fee to users who park an electric vehicle near the person's charging station. Under the bill, a fee charged for park. I don't get that. How you need a 500-foot extension cord near? That's very undecisive. What's near? Within. How much you use within 6 feet or 8 feet or 10 feet, whatever, 2 feet. Not near. That is open for discussion. That's what I just talked about, the use of the English language when, are you not seeing this, or did I pull this? I pulled that over there. My bad. Okay. That's what we want to see. I do not get why people cannot write what they mean. And it goes right to the, I'll use the word collective intelligence of our government at any level. Oh, Jim, you're going off the rag here on this one. No, I'm not. The bill also prohibits a political subdivision from owning, operating, or managing or leasing or controlling a charging facility that is available to the public. So that is a good thing, that the government can't own can't mandate you buy and use electric cars or alternative powered cars and then put up charging stations and charge you for it. That's an intelligent perspective. But the language that gets used, the charging station must be a flat fee or based on the amount of time the user is parked near or connected to a charging station, or on the amount of electricity used. Like, yeah, they're going to be able to read I suppose they can. They do it for air meters for your tires. The bill also prohibits electric utilities and electric cooperatives from restricting customers from charging a fee. Additionally, the bill specifies that a person who owns, operates, or manages, leases, or controls a charging station is not a public entity if the person does not otherwise provide electricity to others for a fee. So, that said, I'm very interested in this bill, the way it's written. That's me personally, and it's. I guess you need a watchdog group if you're not going to read these bills before you go to bed, and I know you won't. This is the stuff that goes on, and then someday you're sitting there watching your 5 o'clock force-fed news feed. And they say, so Joe Blow just got sent to jail because he was charging XYZ fees against state law. And you're going, what? Why? When the hell did this happen? There's a quarter. Anyway, this kind of goes on and on in the scheme of these bills. Now, here's SB 703. Relating to classification of motor vehicle operators as independent contractors or employees. Oh, Uber. Hello, Uber. Can I get a ride? So if you have that vested interest, perhaps you should be checking out the stuff that's floating around the state legislature. Another one, relating to prohibiting foreign missions of China at University of Wisconsin institutions and University of Wisconsin system involvement with communist Chinese recruitment or propaganda programs, and requiring the University of Wisconsin system to report funding received from foreign missions of China. What? I'm just going to stop and say, has this been going on that we have to write a bill? We have to. I'm just like, where have our intelligent legislators been? What have we? If somebody had the knowledge to write this bill, what is it? SB 744. Let me find it here. 744. Look at it. There it is. And who did it pass? Where it says right on here. Should be. Oh, let's see. Over here. Roth and Darling. Introduced by Senators Roth and Darling. Co-sponsored by Representative Murphy, Armstrong, Gundrum, and Allen. Okay, so where's the vote? And I don't know, third time. 20 yeas, and there you go. You have right there. You have 20 yeses and 12 noes. Let's see who. There you are. Let's see who voted. Let's go big screen here. Nays. Let's see. Johnson, Larson, Pfaff. Taylor. Lean. Oh. Quiet before you swear. Do you see how partisan this is? I'm Ishkabibble. There's still 20 yeses. This is state. This is Chinese Communist Party exchange programs. So I'm going to bet. Now, you keep an eye on this bill, SB 744. You got that? SB 744. Keep an eye on it in your news releases, maybe a back page article. And I'll guarantee you, well, rumor has it that Evers is going to veto damn near everything that's floating down the aisle to him to sign. And being an coming from, I won't call him an educator, but he does educate people. A lot of people, at least patriots, where the hell he is. He'll veto, and there'll be a byline somewhere that says, Governor Evers vetoes XYZ bills. My pup just sneezed. Not COVID. He let's go back to this bill here. Okay. And he vetoed XYZ bills. They probably won't even say it because there's there's got to be 50 bills here that I'm holding that are waiting to be yayed or nayed. And it doesn't say here. You'll probably be a byline that just says, oh, he vetoed or he passed 5 new bills. And they'll show him, take a cam op and show him signing something, his toilet paper. I don't know what he signs when he's at the desk there. And you won't hear about all of these that may have very real world advantages to our existence in the state of Wisconsin. I'll guarantee you that's the way it goes, because then you'll say, well, how come somebody hadn't written the bill? Well, maybe they did, and it just got vetoed. Another one here's one, SB 787, relating to the statute of limitation for second degree sexual assault. Don't get me started on that. And I just read today in the AP that there was, who did it? I don't know. They want to make, was it February, the trafficking month in the state of Wisconsin? Here's one that doesn't tell you anything, but I just, especially trafficking and for minors, don't go there. Anyway, here's a bill, SB 791. You tell me what it means. Relating to expanding the treatment alternatives and diversion program. What the hell is that? that tells you exactly what that bill is. That's one of those that gets slid in when you got 5,000 pages of a bill, Build Back Better, my ass. I'll give you a quarter for that one. And then you say, well, what's inside of that bill? Nobody knows. They just pass it. And this is one of those things in the scheme of all of these bills I'm relating to, some of them anyway. What the hell is that? And I can go look at it. What is it? 791. Where's 791? There it is right there. Let's go take a look. Bill text. Johnson Larson. Right now, I already know and every Democrat signed on to it. Under current law, Department of Justice, in collaboration with Department of Corrections, Department of Health Services, awards grants counties and tribes to have established qualifying treatment alternatives, diversion, TAD programs that offer alcohol or drug treatment services as alternatives to prosecution or incarceration. Now, we can go both ways on that discussion. Freedom of choice, which is what America is all about. The addiction thing, I guess, is a separate subject. And I should have, I'm looking for a co-host here. That is a subject matter that really I could devote a whole show to. Freedom of choice, which is part and parcel of freedom of the what bill was it? I threw it away. Senate Bill 547. Freedom of choice that you can't get penalized for, which nobody in their right mind would ever think that in America you get penalized for making a freedom of choice. But if you do, and it's against the law, okay, there you go. Here we go. Bill SP 837. Relating to requirements for adult entertainment establishment and providing for a penalty. Whoa. I'm just, at times I just kind of have to go, whoa. In cooperation with the SB 547, with the not being dismissed or not receiving unemployment benefits because you don't want to take a poke. This bill, it's in the Assembly, 299, has to do with, where am I? Oh, this is, pardon me, get my thing together here. SB 836, is that? No, that's 299. Sorry, my bad. My dog is bugging me. Quiet. Where am I? 836. No, sorry, I'm at 8. Then the program. Now I'm all messed up. Anyway, no, you go lay down. I'm being mean. I'm being mean to my pup. I'm going to take a quick break, and I have to let my pup out. So I hope I make it back in time. If I don't, well, deal with it. I'll be right back. Oh, welcome back. Hang on here. I got to get my ear back in. There we go. Now I can hear everything I'm not supposed to hear. Yeah. Welcome back to the Just Jim Show. Surprising what you can do when it's cold outside and there's a foot of snow in the snowbanks and the dog has to go poopy. Love our pups, don't we? Anyway, we've been talking about state, what's the word I'm using here? Come on. State bills in your state legislature. Now, there are people who aren't in Wisconsin, but it doesn't matter where you live. Get in touch with your state and local people. Get in touch with what's going on especially in your school boards. Absolutely. You have to do this. Anyway, on next, we were talking about in what my opinion of bills that are written badly, and then you have to go back and rewrite a bill or add something to correct it because now all of a sudden it doesn't work. Well, that said, a big topic of discussion has been around for quite a while. And it's the convention of a state, convening of the states, convention of the states. And this is a subject, given what I just talked about for the last half hour-ish. Sorry, I'm out of breath. Stairs are getting bigger as you get older. I don't know that we have a collective intelligence in our elected and or appointed pool of candidates. Now, did you hear that? Pretty straightforward. We were just talking about this last night, that the Constitution just didn't get whipped up in one legislative session. Think about it, and if you don't know, go look it up. Find out how long it took to write the Constitution. And I don't have one down here. I give them out like crazy. The Bill of Rights, preamble, Constitution. They were not just made up. Poof, there it is. This is great. And I do not think today, that's today, that there is a collective mind that could dare take on rewriting a constitutional amendment. I don't think so. And boy, I hate to be a naysayer. But somebody's back. Hey, my buddy's back. Okay, you go lay down. You hang out. Go hang out over there. Go on, go lay down. You're okay. Anyway, I seriously do not think that there's truly a collective intelligence. And the way things go, whoever's in power gets to appoint people or gets appointed to something, to a committee or something. And again, with the change in personnel, and as speed bumpy as our government has turned out to be today, I personally don't know. I have trouble saying this, that we could sit down, given language that has to be rewritten time after time after time in the past over the last 250 years plus, that we could sit down and actually agree to disagree and rewrite something or correct something that's written wrong. I just don't see it. Do not see it happening. And I fear that if it does happen, and I'm having trouble saying this because there's so much that needs to be looked at, and probably, I don't know. By rewriting it, do you interject today's perspective on whatever subject matter you look at? Absolutely you do. And I do not think you go to the southern entry elevator room, go to the northern elevator room with that socialist up there. You just up the road a little piece from me. I truly do fear, but the point I'm trying to make here is that you, as a voter, really you need to be informed on subject. And this one thing, among others, has to be known by the voter. I'm for it. I'm against it. I don't know. Worst answer you can hear from a politician is, I don't know. I don't have an opinion on it. That's my opinion. I need to know you're for something or against something. You fall for anything if you're not. Hello, there's a country song in there somewhere. Yes, and to prove my point yet again, because it's nothing but the true on the Just Jim Show, here it is, right here off the AP. 25 years later, Legion of Christ victims seek reparations. Now, we're going to dive into your theistic beliefs here. Good, bad, or indifferent. You know, people all say, why do you want to, do you want to pick on the church? No, I pick on individuals, human beings, who have somehow gotten to positions of power and take advantage of it. And the word advantage is not necessarily a good word. Boy, I tell you, the French I talked about that in one of my other shows. I have trouble saying it, but it doesn't shake my faith. It shakes my belief in what organizations sit in power, just like the swamp in D.C. Right here. Vatican City. A Connecticut newspaper exposed one of the Catholic Church's biggest sexual abuse scandals by reporting 25 years ago, not just last week, 25 years ago, that 8 men had accused the reverend founder of the Legion of Christ religious order of raping and molesting them when they were boys preparing for priesthood. You know, welcome to the stories that float around, supposedly in the humor mode, not necessarily in the truth mode. It took a decade for the Vatican to sanction the founder. 10 years, a decade. 10 years, yeah. The Legion eventually admitted that he was a serial pedophile who had violated at least 60 boys. In the meantime, the original whistleblower suffered a defamation campaign by the Legion, which, does this sound familiar? Just take a look at modern day. Take a look north of the border. He who organizes a couple of trucks to show up and blow their horns and rev their engines gets arrested. So let's just take him out of the play. Take them out of the public eye. We'll confine them. We won't charge them with anything, but we'll confine them. We'll blast them in the media. And the media is all, oh, yes, we're not worthy. We need to be saved, so we'll report this. This goes on and on. The Vatican in 2010 took over the Mexico-based Legion and imposed a process of reform after an investigation showed that Michel had sexually abused seminarians and fathered at least 3 children with 2 women. The Vatican found he had created a system of power built on silence, deceit, and obedience that enabled him to lead a double life. The book goes on and on and on. And apparently the findings were by no means news to the Holy See. Documents from Vatican archives show that a succession of popes, cardinals, and bishops starting in the 1950s simply turned a blind eye to credible reports that Maciel, was a con artist, drug addict, pedophile, and religious fraud. The Vatican, and especially John Paul, however, appreciated his ability to bring in vocations and what? Donations. No, that ain't right. The reality of Michel's depravity burst into the public domain February 23rd, 1997, when the Hartford Courant published a lengthy expose by investigative journalists Jason Barry and the late Gerald Renner. They wrote a book, 2004, The Vows of Silence. They actually named names. The article goes on and on and on, and basically it asks the question which many in the Catholic Church have asked in small conversations, possibly even in larger congregational meetings. And a lot of it turns out to be the question mark of the day. What is it we should do? Well, I'm going to say, if you look at the organization as a business, and it is a business, not only a business, other things too. You have to ask yourself, and this is a question I've asked, never had an answer to it, but under the rules and regulations, isn't that what we're talking about? Rules, bills, legislation? A pope's a pope is a pope is a pope until the day he dies, except for one guy who resigned. There, in my circles, and I'm not a devout Catholic. I'm a Christian. I believe. I still ask the question, since when does a pope resign? And that could be the subject of another whole show, the hows and whys of who's sitting there today. In 2020, the Legion publicly retracted the quote-unquote negative institutional and personal judgments about the character and motivations of people who made legitimate and necessary accusations. So, 25 years later, they say, oh, wait a minute. 25 years later, they say these couple of people, well, maybe they had merit to their accusations. Can I ask a question? Do any of you know about Knights Templar and that whole story? This is a modern day. 700 years later, they were exonerated after being, they were an organization with no country. Go look them up, read about them. If you know, I'm sure a lot of you know a lot about that organization. But do you know how the organization got pardoned, quote unquote, after 700 years, and how they marched to Vatican City, black robes, red crosses, and what they brought to the Vatican when the Vatican needed it? A Jesuit in the papacy? Oh, boy. Yes, we could talk about that for a long time. On January 4th, 2020, here's a summary of that meeting. Barbara said in a Legion initial calculus of a low five-figure settlement offer for each of the three remaining victims was a humiliation. And he proposed a team of 5 arbitration experts to determine a more just, quote-unquote, reparation. To that was from 2020. Further commentary said, we are sad the meeting has still not happened, especially considering the positive experience of the encounters with other victims of Father Maciel. Smith said in a statement, we continue to remain hopeful. Oh, that's a big theistic word, hopeful. It will take place in the near future, permitting open dialogue with him. I shake my head because the ostrich theory still lives and thrives in many segments you can't, of our lives today. And I constantly ask myself and others, you mean you didn't know about that? What the hell are you doing? What are you professing to be? You don't know about this stuff? And I simply say, when in God's green earth are you going to wake up? I'm not talking woke. Another subject. I'm talking about being awake. Seeing being a bobblehead in your world, in your little world, your bubble. You should be looking at, it's a bubble. If you live in a bubble, it's round. You can take a look all around you. Maybe it's time you started looking around. Here we go. Wait a minute. Where is it? I got it. All right, here it is. From the No One Gives a Rainbow Unicorn Poop About file. There it is, right there. Deadline. There it is. This is funny. Where are we? Right there. Oh yeah. Unmasking of Rudy Giuliani on Fox's The Mask. Did you get that? The unmasking of Rudy Giuliani on Fox's The Masked Singer prompts judges Ken Jeong and Robin Thicke to walk off in protest. Can you believe it? There it is. We're not going to tell you what if it's been on the air, I don't watch that show. But if you've watched it, and this is true, exclusive spoiler alert, Rudy Giuliani was unmasked as an exiting costume contestant in last week's taping of the first season 7 episode of Fox's popular primetime series, The Masked Singer. They quickly left the stage in protest, and it isn't the first time. Does that give you a clue to who and what they are when you're watching it? The show is known for its jaw-dropping surprises when celebrity contestants shed their headpieces after they are eliminated. Deadline hears that while they both left and exited the show, they eventually returned. The fellow judges Jenny McCarthy and Nicole Scherzinger remained on stage. They bantered with Giuliani and a controversial figure for pressing what is widely described as a baseless claim in the 2020 presidential election. We ain't going into that. But do you understand the mentality of a wood tick? Do you know what a wood tick does? Do I have a picture of a wood tick? I do. It's on my website. Go there. They attach themselves and suck their victims dry. Wood ticks right here, sitting in on the show. I've come to not necessarily care for that guy anyway. One of the doohinky-hinkies. Yeah.
Hello, operator. Give me the number for 911.
Oh, God.
Oh, for the love of God! Somebody get the jaws of life!
Oh, Lordy. And if that isn't the way it is, I don't know. Oh, Lordy. Hey, don't forget to get your swag. Subscribe and watch and send some email in here. Let me get I'll do over there. Send your reports into the news at thejustjimshow.com. We'll be happy to either read them or throw them in the garbage. Doesn't matter to me. Oh, Lordy. We'll go to the side shot here once. You can see all some of my array. Yep. Anyway, out of the Daily Reporter. Good, bad, or indifferent. You know, I grab information. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're not. They come from the weirdest places. And what's that? Who's calling me? Who's calling me? Somebody's calling in. Maybe not. Oh, there it is. Hey, you're very welcome. You are very welcome. Somebody sent me hey, thank you. You're welcome. Anyway, we're going to take a look. Oh, this one's kind of nuclear. Wow. Anyway, we pick up our news from many different places, and this comes out of Breitbart, a Breitbart report that says a Florida teacher arrested after leaked snapshot video shows sex with a teen. Hey, earlier in the show, I talked about getting to know your local people. If you do not know school board members, and let me instigate here. I'm going to stir the pot. If you're not considered a domestic terrorist because you've confronted your school board, however that may be, maybe you're not awake. But here's a teacher, and I will guarantee you, I don't know, but I'll guarantee you that if you look at this story, that SOB used tax dollar paid internet connections at the school to send either home or to a fellow pedophile, whatever it was that he was taking a video of. I'll guarantee it. And if that doesn't tick your taxpayer ass off, there's another quarter. I'm telling you, don't watch my show. Go away. Go watch something else. Go watch the Unmasked Singer and watch your wood ticks walk off the stage. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why people have become so disconnected from their local daily lives that this shit goes on. Another quarter. Oh, man. Friday, a Florida substitute teacher was arrested after it was discovered by police that she had unprotected sex with a student on multiple occasions who was 16 years or younger. There's a story over at Breitbart. Probably, when did I pick this up? I don't even know. I don't know. It's an older story, I think. Doesn't matter. News is still the news if you didn't know it. This is a clear violation of sexual battery laws. Sheriff Grady Judd declared she was in a position of influence over the victim, and she took advantage of that for her own twisted pleasure. Whoa! Oh, be still my beating heart. Somebody speaks the truth. If we had public flogging, perhaps. And I'll guarantee you, yeah, this doesn't hit the 10 o'clock news. Maybe it did down there in Florida. I don't know. I don't think so. This was February 3rd, 2022. So it ain't that old. There's a Snapchat video that shows two having sex, which was shown to a large group of football players at Lakeland High School. Well, guess what? I hope that there were not any adult students, but at a football team level, and with the leniency of shoving children into the adult courtroom rather than a juvenile court, I'm going to say everybody on that football team should be sanctioned and arrested. They saw it, and if no one turned it in, I don't know the particulars, so I'm speaking of things that should have happened. That there's something wrong with both the athletic association, the athletic department, the principal, the guidance counselors. Just pick it. School board members. But it was a football team, and they're our alumni. They give us a lot of money. Oh, wait a minute. Follow the money. Yeah, follow the bouncing dollar sign. After the report, the sheriff's office interviewed Davis, in which she admitted having sex with the student. Kind of hard. We got a video. And arrested her on charge of sexual battery by custodian, offense against students by authoritative figure. They also served a warrant with 2 more counts of sexual battery. You know, I wouldn't have been what I did. We expect substitute, quote unquote, Superintendent of the school system. We expect substitute teachers to uphold the same high standards of conduct and professionalism as our full-time educators. Which you were just having a sex ed class. Come on. The charges against this person are disgraceful and a complete violation of the trust that teachers build with their students. There is no room in our schools for this type of conduct. Oh-de-do-de-do-de-do. Okay, well, this is interesting because this then goes into the Waukesha drive-through event. Anyway, here's another sub-byline. Lieutenant William Kelly was fired from Norfolk Police Department after he made an anonymous donation of $25 to Kyle Rittenhouse's legal defense fund in April of 2021. Now that Rittenhouse was found innocent of all charges, Kelly's demanding his job back. There it is, right there. An anonymous donation. Doesn't the English language preclude that anybody knew that he donated money by the use of the word anonymous? Obviously, it was not anonymous. And when you people out there do business on the internet, because he's in, where was he? From Norfolk. He went anywhere close to Kenosha, Wisconsin. No, not COVID. Do you really believe the privacy statements and claims that companies offer to get your information? It's a database building world out there, folks. I do it. But I won't tell you that I don't do it. You get on our network, Just Jim Show, Dose of Reality TV, make a donation or subscribe. Unless we're being hacked from somebody else, which they're claiming now, the Ukrainians and the newsmasters are saying that we are now very vulnerable to cyber attacks and shutdowns. Just watch your P's and Q's out there, people. Yeah. Anyway, that, and I have a couple of stories here. I don't know that I can get into them yet today. What is that? Oh, that's Digger's Hotline. Never mind. Gotta get that out of there. Hey, and don't forget to do your taxes, folks. Get them done. I don't know how the IRS is going to handle them this year, but I have a pile of paper of subject matter that I'm not going to get to today, but I'll guarantee I'll talk to them. One of which is Pandora Papers. Do you know what the Pandora Papers are? It's an offshore data tsunami is what it's being called. And the Pandora Papers investigation is the world's largest ever journalistic collaboration involving more than 600 journalists from 150 media outlets in 117 countries. The investigation is based on a leak of confidential records of 14 offshore service providers that give professional service to wealthy individuals and corporations seeking to incorporate shell companies, trust foundations, and other entities, and flight logs. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Somebody will be watching this small independent news source. This is after resignation by the Capitol Police Chief. He's quoted as saying, "Sees rising threats. Keep that pot stirred. Don't worry about it." Oh, yeah. And a very disheartening story to me personally is a story about, has everybody watched the Shawshank Redemption? Have you seen that movie? And if you did, hold that thought in the back of your mind. I'm going to give you a little story here, not just a taste. We'll talk about it in another show. After nearly a decade of work, 38 feathers now mark Regina Indian Industrial School cemetery graves. Once markers were up, it was a wow, take a deep breath moment. If you don't know the story that this stems from, and I'm going to bounce it right back to the Catholic Church and theism, the acquisition, and I will call it trafficking of children. This story is the uncovering of some of that. This is out of Canadian Broadcasting Company, because that was up in Canada, but we know we have plenty of schools for the kids, as it were, from back when. Butterbox babies, the list goes on and on. And I'm hoping that I can get into this. I've had some communication, very light, with these people. And this is, never mind, that's another story. We'll talk about that story and what I think it means in today's world. Okay, and with that, I guess I'm about done for today. I run a little long. I do whatever I want to do because it's my network. Anyway, so much for that. Get to know your state senators, assembly people, or whatever they're called in your state and your hometown. We have an interesting mayoral election coming up this year in my little town of Lake Wish I Be Gone. Get registered. I hope you voted if you had spring elections. If not, you'll have a midterm election. You want to vote, but get to know the people you're voting for. Don't, I heard that name, I'll just put a check mark there. Get to know if your check mark's really where you want to be as a person in a community. Get to know your neighbors. An interesting thought, because even a little guy like me gets death threats because of this show. I've been on the air since 2010, on and off. But I always speak the truth, and a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. And yeah, the ones that threaten are always the ones that say, well, that's just your perspective. Well, hell yeah, it's my show. I get to talk about what I want to talk about. You want to talk about what you want to talk about? Go make your own damn show. And if that's what you want to do, I do have an agreement with my streaming group that head on over to XSplit. OBS is free, but XSplit actually has some superb technical support to help you get down the road to broadcasting your own show. Nothing other than technical support. Equipment is another story. I'll give you 10% off. You can use the word JustJim15 if you go over to XSplit when you buy it. Happy if you do. Get on the air, blah, 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 like I blah, blah, blah. Ding, ding. And with that, we're going to close today's show. All I can say is you have to be good to each other, agree to disagree going into a discussion, or don't have the discussion. Don't cast eyebrows. If you can't believe that there's a yin and a yang, there's a good and an evil, and that it's possible you might learn something by having a discussion. You have to. It's all we got. Be good to each other. Unless the little people up in them spaceships up there. Wait a minute. I got my foil hat. Unless the people in the spaceship come down and take over, it's all we have. It's us. That's it. Nobody else. What can I say? Be good to each other. God bless. Have a good day and a better tomorrow. And with that, I think we'll play a little video for you in the close of this whole mess. Okay? Again, be good. We'll talk to you next time.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a defender. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to sacrifice everything, his fortune, his sacred honor, even his life, for liberty and something called inalienable rights. that he cannot see but knows he cannot live without. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to ride a horse through sleepy towns in the dark of night, sounding the alarm, entreating neighbors to take up arms against an overwhelming force of wicked tyranny. So God made a patriot. God said, I need someone who, even after crushing defeats, rises up and stands tall. Someone who hears the clarion call that these are the times that try men's souls and does not shrink from the trial. Someone who will cross a frozen river in the dead of winter, when all logic and reason says turn back, abandon hope. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who knows of the rise and fall of great nations, who knows of human nature and the corrupting influence of power and the fragility of liberty. I need this man, along with his like-minded brethren, to write an enduring constitution. So God made a patriot. God said, I need a person, one person, who's willing to do whatever it takes, even write a book to confront injustice and spark a movement that would tear apart a people so that chains will rightfully be shattered and a blessed union eventually emerge. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who, with the love of family and for the love of country, will cross a vast ocean and storm a heavily fortified beach. And, if he survives, charge through 200 yards of bullets and blood across that merciless beach. And if he survives, scale the towering cliffs. And if he survives, begin the long march to free a continent. And if he survives, return home and, with the same resolute determination, rebuild a nation and someday be called the greatest generation. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will, without thought of self, invest in schools and scouts and church and community, so that the proposition that all men are created equal remains a beacon to enlighten the world, and that such a beacon shall not perish from the earth. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will have the courage to not give up her seat on a bus and thus force a nation to confront its deepest divisions and heal the wounds and pursue the dream that inspires all hearts. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone strong enough to stand against any enemy, foreign or domestic, that would try to steal the freedom so dearly defended, the rights so righteously upheld, yet gentle enough to help a small child carry a star-spangled flag in a hometown parade. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who will speak the truth to his own leaders, that in order to preserve our great nation, we will not sacrifice the well-being of future generations for the sake of our own. Someone who will tirelessly toil day upon night, no matter the setback, no thought of surrender. Someone who will prayerfully rise every morning to climb the wall as a defender, duly endowed with the honored gift of generations before, while offering a solemn promise to generations ahead. A defender who will ensure that the way of truth and the torch of liberty remain forever lit in this shining city on a hill. So God made a patriot.